such a detailed 2 days workshop. It actually has covered everything from conceptual level, going down to the nitty-gritties as we speak, and further going down to industry, more topics that are left. I think the topic that has been given to me is a very correct topic, because after all the hard work that we do, we have the technical people who devise new equipment, new softwares. But if this equipment is not able to meet the desired standards of what is required by the field forces, then it is of no use. And more often than not, the procedures that we undertake to introduce these equipment into the defense forces has got a lot of compliance to be met, a large number of them. Actually, the compliance cannot be covered in just a small little time. Every step that we undertake has got a compliance issue. And if you don't understand that, probably it will be very difficult to move forward. I'll try and touch upon these compliance issues as I go along. And I'll be generally meandering on the topic as has been flashed on the slide, basically covering the complete gambit of this procurement process through my own experience, where I was involved in the project management of a project which continued for almost 15 years and has seen the light of the day, to the emergency procurement, to the Army Commander Special Financial Powers procurement done over 4 to 5 years. And from that pedestal, whatever I have learnt, the problem that we face, I will try and lace it down together with the present DAP 2026 that is in the making. Why I have brought this DAP 2026, I just touch upon, although I know that major portion of all this overview of the procurement process to the DAP 2026, to the RFP, and so many other subjects have been covered in great detail. But I just wanted to touch upon one thing to give confidence to the people sitting in front, to our industry, youngsters, MSMEs, startups, that this DAP is progressing from the DAP 2020, from Make in India towards ownership. Now there's a big difference in that. We are going to own. We are looking at the IP at our country. So this is a very big leap. We are going through a JAI system. And what I wanted to bring out here is the last line, that over here, the aim is to integrate the young talent. So we all realize that there is enough talent available in the country, and that talent has to be integrated. So there is much more to what the industry has reached so far and what we will be seeing by the time our vision of 2047 is. So I'm sure we'll all will be benefited by that. But coming to this compliance now proper. So compliance gaps are real. And let me assure you, I have seen many companies during their evaluations, big companies, large caps, startups, mid caps, MSMEs. Most of the time these gaps of compliance are more because time hurry. They are not given due diligence to it. Sometimes that we will be able to make it in time, we will be able to overcome this hurdle and leaving it for some time. And sometimes because of lack of knowledge or lack of awareness of the latest procedures, that has led to the compliance issue. At the outset, I'll kill the anxiety. I was going through a technical evaluation of a very big project, almost to the tune of 600-700 crores way back, about 5-6 years back. A very simple thing. There was one metric that was put in the RFP that all the companies should have X number of outlets, offices with X number of people manning them with X amount of capability in all states. And a percentage was given to the state. It was a very difficult matrix for us also, because some states were newly formed at that point in time. Now what has gone wrong in that, what had gone wrong in that is that the CEOs and the people who were making the so-called presentation, the technical officers, they have come very qualified on the software design that they have made, but they failed in this one particular data matrix. That figure that was there in that RFP was not meeting the requirement in the newly formed states, which they probably overlooked. They did not think about it. They didn't think through. and such beautiful products that they brought. We had to, because in compliance matters it is yes or no. There's no room thereafter, and it had to be shut down. So compliance can be that killing also. So what I wanted to bring out is that unless we understand the complete process, the compliance gaps will continue to remain. Even the best people may falter. So let's not go with the idea that I know it, we will be able to do it. The idea should be, let's do it in-house first. And that will come in the strategy that I'll be talking about. So just to recall, look at the number of processes starting from the SQR when we start. Formulation of ideas, SQR, then RFPs floated, RFPs commented upon by the industry. There are questions and answers, meetings, and the RFP is amended to suit the requirement. Everybody is given then the amended RFP and then the bids. So everything is a time-consuming process. 2 months, 3 months, everything has got timeline available to it. When the bids come, the bids are ab initio submitted, commercial bids as well as the technical bids. They are evaluated. So at evaluation time, you just saw the field evaluation trials and many presentations on the trials. How detailed are the compliances required to be done in that? It cannot be skimmed through. All these will form of, if you have not thought through, will get stuck at the compliance stage when that particular step is being undertaken. Now, this list is endless. Unless we go through the complete list and we come to the end solution, there is a whole long list of compliance. I may not be able to list out everything, but I have tried to bring out certain simple compliances and certain difficult ones so that we understand that even this thing can go wrong. Incomplete documentation. Have you ever heard of that somebody will get rejected for a documentation of his own company? But it is true. The very first thing, what happens after the bid? The very first thing is that the documents are open and it is verified and checked by the simplest parameters that are given in the RFP. There are commercial documents to be attached, there are corporate documents to be attached, there are legal documents to be attached. These are very simple checklists. Now we find that those documents are not there and then this company is just set aside even without going into any further detail. So this incomplete documentation, I think every company can make a checklist at their own house and then can clear this. Every individual doesn't have to wait for any of the RFP to be floated. You can have this ready bundle with you. Non-responsive bids. Bids are not addressing to what the requirement of RFP is. They are addressing what they want to show. Unfortunately, that we can do this. We understand you can do, you are exuberant. You want to show what you can do. But what we want is what we want, which is there in the RFP. Are you able to put across that point? If that point has not been put across, unfortunately, again this doesn't go through. Incorrect pricing formats. People have taken pricing from left, right and center. Nobody has done benchmarking the right way. So when things are awry, then they automatically get a little later on rejected whenever the cost negotiation etc. come into play. And these are all very simple. Registration delays. Why do we have to wait till the end, final stages for registering ourselves for that particular bid? It's not required. We can do it much earlier. The processes are already there. MSME is not going into them. They're losing out on their earnest money waivers. So these are small things. When you ask them why have we not done it, since I'm mentoring some of the MSMEs today, they are not even aware, unfortunately, because they are young people, very energetic, they are focused on their technical agenda, rightly so, but then this part is, they are not aware. And unfortunately, they lose out when the time comes of a big contract, they are not even able to sustain it financially. Flawed joint ventures, people come hardware and software together, they make a venture that we will go through it, but those ventures are not legally bound. How do we take it forward, not recognized? So many questions came of the software today. This is one issue which gets stuck. Some more. Understanding the RFP. The most important document before we go to the contract stage is the RFP. It lays down everything. Those 45, 60 pages, whatever it comes out to. Every page, every paragraph is like has to be seen in great detail. In one of the RFPs, I recall that this option clause and repeat clause were missing. And there was a requirement that was felt by the organization to give more orders, but the clause itself was not there. The company lost out. So please go into all these things and well, since the bell has already rung, I have not yet gone halfway through. But I'll very quickly, these are all things RFP must be understood by all. Certain common things like this IC certification. In the exuberance, people give IC certification that we are so many percentage indigenized. But actually, when you carry out a check, there are some certificates missing, the IC standards are not being met. Unfortunately, we have to reject them. Along with that, there are many security certificates of malicious code, non-adversary certificates, indigenous components made within own country. So all these certifications, sometimes in exuberance they give, okay, they self-certify. But when you get into the details at the time of procurement, you ask for the self-certification, they fall flat. And all the effort of the company has gone down the drain. There are certain parameters that are either incorrect or inadequately spelled out when they are submitting their bids. These are all very self-explanatory. Some of them I touched upon. When the equipment is coming from imported equipment, there's a gap on the TOT. How it is going to be taken forward? Most misunderstood term is that offset clause. It's not being implied correctly. People don't have clarity on it. Offset clause itself has a huge chapter in the DAP. Please read into that if you are in that kind of a high procurement level equipment, which is of few hundred to thousand crores. Please look into the offset clause, how it is to be offset, and then put it in the RFP. If you don't have doubt about it, if you don't have clarity about it, in the pre-bid meeting, when the pre-bid takes place, please ask your pointed questions. Pre-bid is a very good place where all the vendors, companies that are applying for that can ask their pointed question and they will get their replies. Ultimately, even the users, that is the defense, wants that kind of equipment to come in. So if there is any doubt, if there is any problem that the industry is facing, that's the place where we can actually handshake, come to a solution. But once that RFP is amended and issued, thereafter hands are tied. Because this is a fair information to all the participants and thereafter no more. So this pre-bid is very, very important. Unfortunately, some of the companies which don't have much experience, they don't take pre-bid that seriously and they lose out on at the time of execution. They wanted such information, which then we say that you should have asked during the pre-bid time. Most of these points have come as Jalmanes was telling about the NCNC demo. I was in the northern borders about 5 years back, 6 years back. I conducted almost 140. I remember the figure we reached was 150 before my posting came out. All the NCNC trials as well as demonstrations. The exuberance was of the highest level. Some of the companies that today exist that have now become very big, mid-cap and large-cap, went through our hands. MSMEs, the growth is that phenomenal and that fast, especially in the drone industry. But the point is that you have to come well prepared. Those who are well prepared will progress very fast. Those who are not prepared, especially in the niche technology, you have to get clarity and then you have to move forward. So I leave this next certain gaps, documentation gaps and financial errors in the finances. I mean, the financial errors is to the extent that when you ask for a last 3 years data, there is a misunderstanding or it's an oversight that instead of last 3 years they give the data in 1 year in between missing the previous year and previous to that 3 years data. It's such a simple step. Miss out because then you don't meet the criteria of what has been your revenue, what has been your profitability, what has been your EBITDA, etc. You lose out on that. So kindly look into this. The best thing that I can tell to the audience, because they'll be curious to know, is that when the RFP comes, please we make a compliance matrix ourselves. Read the RFP every line and note down what the RFP wants. Just make that matrix. And that matrix is non-negotiable. It is a yes and no matrix once it starts post RFP. Then thereafter, no point trying to say that, oh, we forgot that. That's a missed opportunity thereafter. Okay. For the paucity of time, I'll not go over into very many details. But yes, I was looking at the field evaluation trials. I'll tell one more point. Industry is very curious to submit their prototype or their equipment for trials. One such equipment came to me. This was a bracket that was supposed to be fitted over a weapon. And they made it as a good bracket. I carried out a check as per the data given in the RFP that you have to fire so many rounds, so many single shots, so many automatic, at so and so range, and so many number of times. First 2-3 rounds, fantastic. Fourth round onwards, the bracket started becoming loose. What's the use? Army needs it for permanent firing. It doesn't need for just 2-3 shots. So we thought maybe it's some slip up. We tried again in the same testing. We again put that. The team that had come, they changed many brackets. But there was a problem in that bracket. They were initially fitting. So that's why I brought this point out, is that when the industry goes into, yes, cleared the first step, come to the field evaluation trial, that trial should have been done at their end. These trials can take place on their own. These are not the trials in which you have to run to the national accredited labs or something. This you can manage. So please look into those kind of things beforehand, much beforehand. If it's your product, it's in your hands. You can always test and try it. Requirement will be recurring. Similarly, the requirement of surveillance equipment, sights, long range sights, the ranges are haywire. He is looking at 20, 30 kilometers. What is coming is 15, 20 kilometers. Why? So that means either we are not aware what product we are giving, or we are trying to get into the system thinking we will get through. No, we will never get through. Let me be very, very candid about it. So it has to meet those particular QR. So what can we do to optimize these mistakes? What can we do? Very simple step. Just read this. I have written it in plain English. Compliance preparation begins much before the bid. We prepare for every step that would keep you ahead. Bid will come when it will come. It's your product, you are developing it, you are making it, you are going into a prototype with a thought process, with some awareness of the environment. Please prepare for all the things that you think you will be envy. Have a robust team. I brought this as a second point. Reason, technically you are all super. I have no doubt, so many companies have interacted. Technical knowledge, 100%. Where they fall back is the business development part. These kind of issues is the nice workshop has been created here, that these issues are left out. When I'm interacting with some of the companies that I'm guiding today, they have no idea about DAP, DPM. I was asking them, you know what is DAP? Somebody said, we are hearing it for the first time. Amazing. I said, how will you do the business? So it is that much required that we should be able to educate them. So have a good rounded team which will be able to take you along these issues also as you develop technically. You must build a document library. I mean, these document libraries are very, very simple. What are your commercial documents? What are your legal documents? What kind of clearance you need to take? What kind of certification you require? All this can be taken well ahead in time. Have a document library, tick mark, and keep those documents in one stack and keep it together. Any bid comes, that document library is going to sustain you for everything. Carry out a registration, bank guarantee. In one of the cases, the bank guarantee date was different. I mean, just imagine a simple thing. It is just an omission, I believe. So please look into all these small details. These are the minor points. Create the compliance matrix yourself, tick mark it yourself. You don't have to run anywhere, and schedule it to the calendar. Calendar schedule is already known. How much time, which step is going to take. Please schedule it. Automate a portal within yourself that gives you a timer that, okay, 24 hours to 48 hours before I should jump in my bid. What happens most of the time, people say, sir, now the portal is becoming very heavy. We are not able, bid is not uploading. Gen is becoming heavy and all those things. So get over it. Be ahead in time. Be proactive. And there should be parallel internal processes that you must continue within your own domain, from both how to overcome the gaps. These processes must continue. You must get clearances. I will talk about it a little later also. Establish an agile workflow. This is again very important. That what is to be done when. And please have your daily prayers, have your weekly briefings, whatever I'm sure they must be having. But please continue these good habits, best practices. It will keep you ahead of time. I'm sure there must be some companies having subcontractors. Please pre-vet them for everything that they are going to be with you. Please pre-vet them that they meet all those criteria requirements. Their own registration processes are complete, so that when they are your subcontractors, the product doesn't get approved disapproved because of them. Now, quality assurance, much has been spoken about. It's a difficult gamble to go through because sometimes the quality assurance has to be given by certain labs and there is a lot of queue over there. But if your product is such that is has got a recurring demand. So you please have the quality assurances taken either from the DGQA labs or the accredited labs and keep it ready. It is for a time period. So keep that qualification ready and handy with you. Otherwise, most of the people, they are not able to apply because their these assurances are not given to them on time. CNC, be unambiguous about CNC. Very, very important step. And if something has to be negotiated by the team which has gone there, please have your approval from your company hierarchy that okay, this is what we are going to commit during the CNC meeting and go through the negotiation. Don't ask for more time. There may not be one, and somebody else may be called. This internal red team is a very good, very, very good concept. You always challenge us. Have your own red team. Let them vet you out inside, in-house. It's a very good practice. Try doing it. I'm sure lot of this 90% issues will get cut down. Certain issues which are of higher angle, that is concurrent vetting of various processes, concurrent processing that can be undertaken, digital twin. There are two sides of it, but I think in some cases where the material stress is required to be tested or aerodynamic shapes are required to be tested, you can always have a digital twin of your component, and it can be tested on the computer, and even before the prototype is built, you will have solid answers to it. So please exploit this particular thing. And in certain cases where one of the speakers was saying that he cannot simulate the environment well, that's effort in progress. There are some waivers that may be taken or may be spoken of. Suppose you've got a product which has already been tested in a particular environment, and if there is a certification available, your new product is also working in the same environment, maybe you can always discuss that during the pre-bid meeting whether the certification will be required for that or not, and clarification can be taken. Okay, single stage composite trials, much has been spoken about it. There are challenges in that, but then yes, attempt should be there. This will also restrict the timeline. And of course, thereafter, once everything is signed up, the post-contract management is a different ballgame. But I was wanting to take you till the contract is signed. This gambit I am not going to cover today, otherwise the presentation is going to be very long. So in a nutshell, what I have tried to tell you is that the compliance gap and the strategy go hand in hand. Compliance gap is a real enemy. You may lose out a good contract just because of this compliance, and which may be very rudimentary also. Therefore, have these measures in place, go through your compliance, and it's better to bid on a solid ground with solid technology rather than having a solid technology and a gap which brings you down. I have to say only this much. Thank you very much. Somebody wants to connect with me,
So we shall take questions during the industry interaction in the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much.